John DeJarian is here, the co-founder of Market Rebellion. Always good to see John in studio. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
All right, trade war. Wine and spirits or American liquor affected by this. Always, by the way, as a side note, interesting to watch the faces of other world leaders when they're meeting with Trump, right? They don't give too much away, but you saw that from Mark Carney today.
There was a nice smile on Carney's face, actually. It didn't look forced. Yeah. I think they're trying to come to a deal. That's what it looked like.
Carney knows his economics, or
yes,
should,
he
right?
does.
And he's run the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. What does a deal look like, and what about, whether it's liquor, which you mentioned, or other items, trade with, with Canada, our closest neighbor here, and do we figure this thing out?
I think we will. And I bet one of the things they talked about was Lithium America, which is a Canadian company that the president wants to own 10% of. And you can only imagine that with all their exposure to, of course, lithium, among other critical minerals for defense and for batteries and so forth, for EVs and phones, everything.
Are you comfortable with government ownership like that of companies, private companies?
Minority ownerships, yes. And we did it, of course, in the great financial crisis, GFC. We had ownership stakes at least that large in Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citigroup.
Those were desperate times.
Bank of America. Yeah. And right now, I think if we're going to be subsidizing these businesses, like with the CHIP Act under former President Biden, I think we should get something for it. Now, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be able to buy the stock back from us, like all those banks I just mentioned did after the GFC. But if we're going to be putting up $20 billion or whatever it was for the CHIP Act, I think we should get stakes for that at some point. And it seems like that's going to be a fair trade-off to me, Colin.
I want to talk about one other item with you because it was a big headline today. Oftentimes, if we talk about finance at all, we're talking about just the stock market. The price of gold topped $4,000 an ounce. All right, first time that's ever happened. Record high gold. A, tells us what, and B, will it continue, this run in gold?
A multi-billionaire who ran Bridgewater, and he founded it, that would be Ray Dalio, was telling people, you should own at least a 15% stake in gold for your portfolio. $1 million portfolio, you should have 150,000 in gold, is what he's saying. Well, it's up 53% year to date. Outside of...
So that's a safe haven play, right? And Dalio is a guy who's concerned about, he writes about economic cycles and, empires collapsing, that type of stuff. But the idea that, we have too much debt and you got to be careful about how the government handles its finances, and gold is a way to kind of
hedge against that.
Hedge against it, right.
And in the old days, that was one of the only ways. Now, of course, a lot of the younger generation goes towards crypto and DATs, digital asset treasuries and things like that.
Are they comparable? Is gold, do you see them the same?
They will be. They're not yet.
Okay.
They will be, and if you were smart enough, lucky enough to own some of those, like Binance and BNC, this is I advise these guys. That company and its underlying asset, which is Binance, the token BNB, it's up dramatically in the last few days. So it's not just gold, but GLD is a way that people play gold through an ETF. And the GDXJ is the junior miners. They're the miners that are basically 3 billion and below in market cap. And they're up over 104%.
But does this generally speaking mean we're really worried about something?
I think it tells you that with the market making moves like we saw yesterday in AMD, a 25, 30% move, the markets are feeling frothy to a lot of us, and yet there's really, if we're going to see more cuts going into the end of the year and maybe even in the first quarter of next year, it still looks like a pretty good runway. So you'd rather not see it get too frothy, but for those especially that have a little more gray hair or less hair.
Seen it before.
They've seen it before, so that's why they're moving some of that cash into the likes of...
Because those tech stocks, it's a bit much, right? Is that what you're saying with some of this stuff? And
it is.
AI related. I mean, everybody's excited. Well, not everybody on the job side. We talked about that last hour. But just the potential of AI as a technology has everybody excited, but you wonder whether there's bubbles forming and that kind of thing. And
right. And if indeed the Senate, which is the one that the survey that you, I think, were quoting last hour, saying, how many millions of jobs could be lost because of it, that means it's a really powerful tool. So are we wrong to be betting on NVIDIA and AMD and a lot of these data centers? I don't think we are.
But maybe have a little gold too, just in case.
Maybe just a little.
That's the idea.
Everything, nothing goes straight up. So things that are going straight up right now, look for them to pull back a little, but I'm not looking for a crash out of it.
We always like to end on, well, not always, but sometimes we like to end when you or your brother's on, talk a little football, given your background. This was a funny story, and I say that as a Jets fan. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, is at the game. The Cowboys beat the Jets because everybody beats the Jets. He flipped off. Did you see this? The Jets fans, old Jerry Jones, gave him
with a big smile on his face.
Yeah. How about that?
Well, Baker Mayfield was doing about the same thing with Tampa and Seattle. He gave the Seattle fans the same sort of treatment. I'm a friend of Jerry Jones. I think he's a great guy, and I think it was meant in both fun and competitively. He was just basically having fun.
They fined him $250,000.
That's a lot for that, isn't it?
That's why keeping all our fingers in check.
He can
afford it. I might be.
I'm going to make sure I keep my fingers like this because I can't afford that.
Because my take on it was, as a Jet fan, we kind of deserve it, but it's not the fans' fault. Maybe the players, they should be getting some form of, I don't know. They're good to see you, John. Always
nice to see you.
Always great to talk through these issues. John DeJarian with us.